that right, but Davis took off some of the steam of the punch, but still, Roach leaned with right.
He took a knee.
He took a knee. What is he doing?
He forgot his...
All right, we're going to get right into this. So last night was the Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach fight, and I had to wake up early for this because there was so much to talk about. Like, the other fights were great. I mean, you know, you had Gary Russell dominating Rayo Valenzuela. I thought Rayo Valenzuela was going to, you know, be a lot better, him being the champ and everything like that, but Gary Russell styled on him. There were a bunch of other fights on that card that were really well, but I really want to focus on the Davis versus Roach fight because I don't think, I mean, unless you're a Roach fan and everything like that, which I'm neither a Davis fan or a Roach fan, but if you're a Roach fan, I honestly, myself, I thought Davis was going to do how he normally does. Start off really slow, take a lot of punches, and then by the 7th to the 9th round, really turn it up and then really put on the pressure and everything like that. So obviously, there was a lot of crazy stuff. Not a lot, but the main crazy thing that happened was obviously in the middle of the fight. I don't remember which exact round. It was in the later rounds. But in the middle of the fight, you know, Roach is, you know, pressing Davis and he throws a jab, and I'm assuming it, like, I don't know, it hit his eye or something like that, but he takes a knee. Now, normally, I'm a boxer myself. You take a knee, that's immediately it don't matter what it is, the ref is counting. Standing 8 count right there. You know, so he goes over to his corner, he does something, they wipe his eyes. I'm assuming, I guess he just couldn't see or something.
Now, after further inspection, I did see that Tank did say that the reason why he was asking for his coach to wipe his eye and he took that knee was because the product that they put on his braids was burning his eyes. So I just thought I'd point that out.
But the ref, who I've seen him ref so many fights before, and I honestly think he is a very good ref. I forget his name, but I think he is a good ref. But like, what was he thinking in that moment? Like, I don't understand. I think the whole world was confused. I mean, you had stars like Terrence Crawford and Ryan Garcia and everything like that talking about how, like, you know, why was that not counted as an 8 count? And the reason why this is such a big deal is because of the fact that this fight ended up into a majority draw. Okay. They saw, I think it was 114. 2 judges saw it that way, and then 1 judge saw it for Davis for 117-113 or 115-113 or something like that. I think had they had scored that a knockdown and that being a 10-8 round, Lamont Roach wins that fight, and Davis has a loss on his record instead of a draw. You know, obviously they're gonna have to run that back. All right, there should be no other talks of any other fight other than Davis versus Roach 2. Okay, I see Shakur Stevenson is out there, you know, wanting to fight him and everything like that. I don't get why fighters do that. Like, bruh, like, it's obvious it's gonna be a rematch unless like Davis decides not to fight him again for whatever reason, because maybe he got exposed. Because let's be honest, Roach did really good in this fight. Like, he stood his ground. The power punches were landing for Davis, but you can tell, like, you know, other than a few shots, Roach was weathering the storm and bringing it straight to Davis. I mean, in the earlier rounds, I basically saw kind of the same Davis. His punch output is not that much. He always like turns it up towards the later rounds, but like Roach was successful all the way through the fight. And there were a couple times, like the commentators didn't say this, but I saw this. There were a couple times where he hit Davis with a few shots that either stunned him, wobbled him, or sent him back, you know? And like, he did really well to hide it, but let's be honest, that fight, if you do score that knockdown, like any other ref would, that's Lamont Roach winning by majority decision. You know what I mean? And now we're talking, you know, Lamont Roach versus Shakur, Lamont Roach versus Haney, and blah, 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 you know, all that stuff. Now, no shadow of a doubt that the rematch has to be the next fight. Has to be. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. But you could have honestly, even without the knockdown, you could have scored it towards Roach. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, he really did do good. He threw more punches. He landed more punches. Granted, not that much more, but he still was landing more punches. He was active. He wasn't being overly dominated by Davis. His ring presence wasn't as dominant as he was against like Frank Martin, where he was chasing him around the ring the whole time. Lamont Roach was actually on a lot of occasions was chasing Davis on a constant basis. And to be honest with you, what's up, Kat? And to be honest with you, like, I even started rooting for Roach, like, in the middle of the fight. I honestly, I was like, yo, I think he could pull this off. I think he really can beat Davis. You know, I really believed in that. And for Davis, honestly, my prediction is that Davis was going to do exactly how he did against Frank Martin, against how he did against Leo Santa Cruz. Like, he's gonna start off slow, you know, let the guy build confidence, and then, you know, after that, he was going to turn it up between the middle rounds, towards the end of the middle rounds, and get him out of there. You know, Roach coming up in weight and everything like that. I believe that was going to be how the fight was going to go, but I was mistaken. I must not watch enough Lamont Roach fights, you know, but I honestly believe that Davis was going to get him out of there. Now, again, the rematch has to happen. And then afterwards, you heard in the press conference, you know, and I gotta give it to Davis at this point, you know, like he didn't make any excuses. He even stated like he didn't turn it on when he should have, and I think that had to do a lot with Calvin Ford not being in his corner. So Calvin Ford wasn't in his corner for this fight, and I think, if I remember correctly, again, this is all going off the top of my head right now. If I remember correctly, the reason why was because he's got you know, skin in the game for both Roach and Davis, because they grew up together, I guess, fighting and stuff like that throughout the amateurs and stuff. So Calvin Ford wasn't in Davis's corner for this fight. So I think that had a lot to do with it. I mean, Davis is a seasoned fighter. We're talking, you know, years and years and years in the professional game, longer than a lot of these up and coming stars and everything like that. So as a boxer myself, it makes a big difference when you don't have the coach that, you know, that you've been training with from the beginning. Like, Calvin Ford has been in Davis's corner since the beginning. So to not have him in your corner that fight that night, you know, I think, you know, a lot of the coaching and everything like that he normally gets in the fight, and I'm not saying his coach that was in his corner that night did a bad job, but I feel like that had a lot to play with that, because, you know, you have that trust with your coach that he's telling you, you know, the right thing, you know, to be able to maneuver and win the chess match, you know. And I believe that had a lot to do with it. I think maybe as he's getting older, he's not as, you know, he's not as sharp as he used to be or something like that, but honestly, I think the rematch will be an interesting fight. I like how Lamont Roach fought in that fight, but I also think that if he gets Calvin Ford in his corner for the next fight, I think he wins that fight. But I'm not by no means am I just shaking off Lamont Roach or anything like that as a one-off performance, because that is a solid game plan. It's a very solid game plan. And honestly, you know, I thought it was crazy that he took a knee and no count, no nothing. He just looks at him, are you good? Has a whole conversation with him in the middle of the fight, you know? And then not even like, bro, you couldn't like point to Doug, like nothing, like zero. And then on top of that, like, I'm not sure who won that round. Again, I don't remember the play-by-play. I'm going all of this off the top of my head because, man, I had to talk about this because it was crazy. Like, I'll give a more in-depth, you know, take and everything like that of the rounds and who won and how it affected the rest of the fight. But obviously, had you scored that round, a 10-8 round, no matter if it was 10-9 or 10-8, like, had you had scored that a 10-8, we're saying Lamont Roach is the winner. You know what I mean? We're not saying this is a majority draw. You know, without that knockdown, yeah, you know, we have this result. But come on, that should have been called a knockdown. There is no way that ref should have been like, yo, what the hell? Like, no, immediately 1, 2, like, start counting, bruh. Don't matter if he got to wipe his eye or nothing. Listen, I've been fighting for a pretty long time, bro. Like, I know the rules. You take a knee, that's counting, no matter what it is, you know. But hey, listen, we move, and I think the rematch will be a really good fight. I think it'll be just as competitive, but I do think Davis will win the next go if they rematch. Now, I know how things go and everything like that, and if Davis and Roach agree to the fight, hopefully we get a second fight. But you know, boxing, things change all the time. So anyways, I just want to make a quick little video. I've been your boy, and I'll see y'all next time on the next video. Peace.